welcome along to the Invincible podcast. Lee Judge is joining me here in the building to talk all things Arsenal. So you know what? I thought today that we put a little spin on the show, yeah? Let's not just talk Arsenal today.
Nah.
Let's make this be the Karma episode.
Yeah.
Right? Because this week has been a good week, man. I'll tell you, I'm feeling good, bro. Yeah, I'm feeling... You know what? Like last week, obviously, Arsenal went up to Newcastle and we had that defeat, our first defeat of the season at Newcastle.
Yeah.
And it's a very controversial defeat. There was lots and lots of talk about the whole incident around the penalty. Sorry, not the penalty, the goal. Was it a goal or was it not a goal? Was the ball out? Was it a push on Gabriel? Was it offside? All kind of things around that goal. Mikel Arteta came out with his statement. You know what I mean? The club backed him. And Arsenal were getting all kinds of stick in the media. Arteta being criticised for complaining about VAR. I had Tottenham fans, and I'm sure you had them as well, ringing me, laughing at me, bantering, sending me WhatsApps, memes, everything. And I just said to them, I said, well, listen, you still got your game to play on Monday night because you ain't played your game yet. And they're like, listen, light work. Chelsea, light work, mate. This is a new Tottenham. It's going to be done, blah, blah, blah. And then we saw what happened in that game. We're going to get to that. And then we've had the United fans. They were giving it as well. They were, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, we had our game Wednesday night. Comfortable win over Sevilla. We'll talk a bit about that. But then to see United losing against Copenhagen and in, you know, big threat now of going out of the Champions League, I thought, let's just have a laugh about it. Yeah. Let's just have a talk about it like how they've been talking about us.
Very interesting, isn't it?
Very interesting. So listen, who should we start with? Should we
let's start with them down the road, shall we?
Let's start with them down the road.
Let's start with them, like, you know what I mean? Because I've had all the WhatsApp groups, as sure you have, the crying of Mikel Arteta, the banter. So tomorrow we'll be 5 points above you and all of this sort of stuff. And I'm going to say, first 10 minutes, I'm very impressed with them, like, you know what I mean? But the VAR went against them. They love VAR the other day. They loved it. You know, the Song won when he was a millimetre off. Go 2-0 up. It's a different game, by the way. And then if that goal would have gone in, I'm not going to lie, I was going to turn off. I was just about. I thought, no, let it ride for a couple more minutes. Let it ride. And then it just became it's
a bloodbath.
It was just fantastic, like, you know.
It's a great game to watch as a neutral.
Great game to watch as a neutral. Great game if you was an Arsenal fan, even better. Like. But, you know, all the suffering that they was going through and all that. Like. But the greatest thing about it was that Spurs lost and Chelsea were rubbish, you know what I mean? So it was a win-win for us. A win-win for us. And that really set up the night. You know, after
Wait, going back to that. Only that could only happen to Tottenham, innit?
Yeah.
That they've lost 4-1, but the team that have beaten them 4-1 are actually rubbish on the day.
Yeah. They could have been playing Wickham. I tell you that. I mean, it was awful, Chelsea. Like, realistically, I'm going to be honest. If that was Arsenal playing there, I would have been fuming that you ain't come out there and won about 7 or 8. Like they just said, look, we'll leave the doors open for you. You can come in and say you can come and rob it whatever you want. Like, you know what I mean? Like that. And to be honest, I'm going to be really honest about it. Which is even better, right? Is even better. When you're down to 9 men, the game's over. But Chelsea give Tottenham a little inkling for a couple of minutes, so they might get. So all the Spurs fans sort of stayed there, hoping that it could happen, like, you know. And of course, it didn't. And you know, and what was the most funniest thing about it? It's just been pumped 4-1, and they got glory Tottenham Hotspur on their, you know what I mean? Tottenham Hotspur, the gift that keeps on giving.
The thing about it, right, is that, like you said, they started off really, really well, Tottenham, in that game.
Yeah, they did.
Right? And then, actually, there was then a spell there, Chelsea. Remember they had a goal disallowed and they grew back into the game.
Spurs fans have forgot about, by the way.
Which they forgot about, conveniently, right? They just blaming it they're blaming it all on
9 men, you know what I mean?
Chelsea came back into it. But listen, I've seen all this little sympathy stuff going out. I've seen all this loving with Postecoglou and stuff like that. Let me say something, right? First of all, Where's the discipline in your team, right? That's what they used to have a go at Granit Xhaka about, and things like that, about discipline. This guy Romero now, this is multiple times that this guy has just been a thug in boots, right? Where not pussy in boots, thug in boots, yeah.
Thug in boots, I like that.
He should have been sent off for the first one,
yeah,
and he got away with that, right? Now you think to yourself, right? Let me just keep my head down, you know what I mean? The second one on his international teammate, by the way, right, in Enzo Fernandez, was horrific. So you get yourself sent off. You'd already had one warning. You'd already had one where really in another game you would have went.
He should have gone.
And he should have gone. I couldn't believe when he stayed on the pitch because he kicked out of the player and now you're sent off. Now you're down to 10. Idoghi, who's already on a yellow. Again, another player who had avoided being sent off early in the game should have gone, I felt, for that challenge as well.
100%.
Got away with it, then goes and gets himself sent off. I mean, come on, that is the dumbest football I've ever seen. But then to add on top of that, you're now down to 9 men. Down to 9 men, what would any other team in the Premier League do? Right, guys, we've got to shut up shop. Let's take off attackers. Let's just put everybody behind the ball. Let's just defend for our lives. Basically, what Liverpool did when Liverpool played Tottenham, put everybody behind the ball. And we all know how Liverpool play. We all know they don't play like that. We all know that Jurgen Klopp likes to attack teams, Jurgen press and all that. But obviously, Jurgen Klopp looked on it and said, bro, if we do that, we got no chance of winning this game. Our only chance of getting anything out of this game is just to go ultra defence. And he nearly pulled it off. There was a Tottenham fan I was talking to on Tuesday. He was going, yeah, but Robbie, it's the same outcome. I go, it's not the same outcome. Really. I go, yeah, it's the same outcome. But I go, there's a big difference, right? In that you guys, you got pumped 4-1. It's an embarrassing defeat in the end. Whereas in the case of Liverpool, remember that was the last kick of the game.
Yeah.
And it was an own goal. Otherwise, they would have held out for a 1-1. We all know that this season as well, Chelsea, when teams have put banks of 4 and gone in a low block, Chelsea in particular have found teams hard to break down. They couldn't break down Nottingham Forest. Yeah. They couldn't break down a multiple amount of these teams that have come to their ground and put everybody behind the ball. So you thinking the obvious thing to do is that. No. Postecoglou is playing a high line.
Playing Aussie rules, wasn't he?
With 8 Aussie rules, 8 men on the halfway line. Now, like you said, if Chelsea have had anything about them, the amount of times they got in behind and missed a chance, or they didn't time their run right and got offside was ridiculous. They could have, like you said, if I'm a fan of Chelsea, I'm upset as well because you could have put down the type of win that you could talk about for years. You could remember when that time when we lost 8-2, when we had players that sent off and stuff like that against Man United, right? They still banter us about that to this day. Man United, when they lost 7-0 against Liverpool, they're going to forever hear that from Liverpool fans. When United got beaten 6-2 by City, they'll forever hear that. They could have put down in that game with that ridiculous high line that Postecoglou was playing. They could have put down a 7-8-0. Or 8-1, sorry.
Yeah, they could have done.
And they didn't because they missed so many chances. And then the loving with Postecoglou after the game. It was an entertaining game. We all enjoyed it and all that. But it was almost like they were saying, this is great football he played. It was so brave. It was stupid.
Charge of the Light Brigade, wasn't it?
Charge of the Light Brigade. You're right. And
kamikaze football.
I called him. I was doing a show on DR, and I said he's the Australian Bielsa, but he's nowhere near as good. Because basically he's just gun-ho football. And if that's how they're going to play,
they ain't going to play like that, Robbie.
They can't, can they? They can't play like that.
They won't do that. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if they start, I remember Ozzy Ardiles played that one time, played 4 strikers up front and all that, and they sacked him after a few weeks.
PSG, remember the other day when they went to play Newcastle?
You can't
played 4 strikers, end up getting beat by 4.
We got pumped. You know what I mean? So listen, I get it with Spurs because the football over the last couple of years has been tough on them, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so there's this, all of a sudden that they just want to get entertained and all that. I understand that because we was a little bit like that at one stage, you know what I mean? It was awful, and all of a sudden we had you're getting what you're getting. But then all of a sudden, expectation levels will take over again, like, you know what I mean? So don't and if he does that gunno against Arsenal and gets pumped 5-6, and gunno against Man City gets pumped 5 or 6, I'll be very interested. They've got Man City in a few weeks' time. I think it's at the City Ground. Let's see if he goes up there, and let's see if he goes up there. Yeah, they get destroyed. They will get destroyed. So let's see if he does that. And if he does it, good luck.
Well, according to him, like, you know, he'd play like that unless the only way he'd shut up shop if he's that of 5 men.
Yeah, well, you know.
I mean, it's all right to say all that bravado talk and that, but you know, at the end of the day, you lost 4-1.
Yeah, and listen, right? He can talk as much as he likes about. You know, he turned around and said about. I wouldn't be arguing with referees, and I accept their decisions. He got booked in the game, you know what I mean, was one thing. I've seen him moaning when he was at Celtic, you know what I mean? So,
exactly.
You know, at the end of the day, you
real
can't...
hypocrite, because those videos at Celtic have emerged where he was, you know, slating refs.
So there will be times when things go against Spurs, and he will come out and go into one like... He's the darling of the press at the moment. And the reason that he is the darling of the press, why they like him at the moment, is because they ask a question, he gives an answer. The likes of Arteta, Klopp, and Pep, they all know what the press is like down here, like, and are very cautious of it. Give it another few months, and it'll be under the pump. And yeah, but listen, it was kamikaze football from them as far as I was concerned. And again, VAR. I want to know when this 2-footed tackle law's been changed. Because you didn't touch him, that it's not. I've always known as a 2-footed tackle, right? That's a sending off. Even when I played football, you know, they don't go in 2-footed tackle. The Romero one, by the way, when I played football, it was a good tackle. But football's changed now. But that 2-footed tackle has been outlawed since I've known when. How he has stayed on the pitch for that is incredible. The one from Romero, as you said, the little kicker. Now, yeah, all right, get away with it. But then Rodri, like, only just taps somebody off. So again, the inconsistency of VAR is again in question again. You know. So, but listen, from Tottenham's point of view, Saturday night they was loving it. You know what I mean? They were loving Arsenal losing and all that, like, you know. But what they didn't think was they forgot about Monday night, and they forgot about them. They forgot
that they're called Tottenham Hotspur. And the other thing about it as well, let's see how well they cope with these injuries now, right? Yeah. Because the one thing you've got to give Arsenal a lot of credit for, right, is that, you know, even going into that game against Sevilla, no Jesus.
Yeah. No Odegaard.
No Odegaard. No Eddie Nketiah.
No Eddie.
No Partey, right? Timber, who was going to be an integral part and a big signing, he's been out all season. You know, that's 5 major injuries. Even last night, even at half time, you know what I mean? Tomiyasu came off, right? So Arsenal have been coping with these injuries all season, and they've been coping with these injuries brilliantly with more or less the same record as Tottenham. I mean, they've only lost 1 game. You know, I mean, even in the game against Newcastle, players are injured. How are they going to cope now that they're going to be missing Van der Ven, and they're going to be missing Maddison, and actually they're going to be missing Romero and Udogie. You know, Romero for 3 games as well, because he stupidly got himself a straight red. It's going to be really interesting now to see how they cope, because this is part of, and I think it's one of the things that Arteta has learned since he's been in the job. It's like, it's not just about you starting 11. What can your squad do? How can your squad step in? We saw Trossard. You know, how many times he stepped up, including against Sevilla. You know what I mean? So, have they got the minerals about them to have players that are going to step up with some of those big players missing? That's going to be a really interesting thing to see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting that, like, you know, listen, no one wants to see players get really badly injured, and their centre half was a bad one. I remember when
it looks like a tear, innit?
Yeah, like, you know, Spurs fans, silly Spurs fans on Twitter and all that and social media laughing at Timber. I won't go down that route. You know, I don't like to see like a bad injury like that. That looked bad. You know, Maddison won. I don't really know what happened with him. Like, it's just sort of like
it's weird.
No one really touched him, did he?
Yeah, and they've not really said how long he'll be out for.
Like, you know, so
Maddison has got a history of injuries. When you look at Maddison's sort of last 4 seasons, he's had a lot of injuries and a lot of knee problems.
Yeah, so I don't know.
And it's one of them ones where nobody touched him, a bit like the Timber one. You know what I mean? I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but it's how you cope with these injuries. And then now we're going to see how they're tested, because we've literally had that since the whole city. Party's barely played a game.
Yeah.
You know, so let's see how they're going to handle that. But then moving on to Manchester United.
Just a quick thing before we finish the Spurs game. Like, Pat Jennings apparently collapsed before that game, didn't he? But he's all right. You know what I mean? So that was good news. You know what I mean? Like that he's well. So wishing Pat well, because obviously like
both
teams and loved by both teams.
Yeah,
I think he's the only one that's ever got away
I don't know
with
how
that.
he's ever managed.
I don't know how he's ever managed it. Luck of the Irish, but I tell you, like he's managed to do it.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I'm glad to see that. Great goalkeeper, and I'm glad to see that he's all okay.
Yeah, big up to Pat Jennings.
Newcastle, or should we go Newcastle?
Oh, no, let's go Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle, all those Geordies that were giving us grief up there on the weekend. Bit of karma for you lot as well.
They have Geordies.
Yeah, and I like the Geordies, right?
They were very, very friendly.
They were very friendly. We had a great time up there, apart from the game.
Yeah.
Up in Newcastle, but they were giving it to us. Remember the old guy, that guy, right? Remember that guy? He was the previous year. We were doing the interviews outside the stadium, and he drove past us.
He done it again, didn't he?
Driving like in a Bentley or something. He had a nice car.
Bentley, nice car.
Nice car. He came past. I remember the last season.
He's done
you lot were lucky.
He weren't so lucky this year, was you? Like, do you remember
and then he was giving us loads of grief on Saturday, and Arsenal this, and you lot whinging and moaning, and Newcastle this and that. Tuesday night, away in Dortmund.
Pumped. What was very interesting in that game? What was very interesting in the game? 2 things. Like, listen, I come out and thanks to Julian, had to go through the town twice. You know what I mean? Like, thanks to Julian. But anyway, that's another story. Left the keys, and like, so we had to go for a banter twice when we was there. It was all good fun. Give us it large, and went cut past a few. So big up to the Geordie fans. They recognise us and give it large, but in a real friendly way.
Yeah,
and that's great. That's what football's all about. You know what I mean? And anyway, what I did notice in the game is none of those nasty little digs that he done in that game, because he knew that he couldn't get away with them in Europe. Knew he couldn't get away with it with the referee. They played a nice, clean game. Didn't they, Newcastle? And Joe Linton, who was, this is where karma comes in, myself, Joey boy. Karma, when you have a little push there, like, open goal, he puts it wide. Like, couldn't have happened to a nicer fella. Like, I've got nothing against him, but you push my man, Gabriel, that's what you get, miss open goals. Like, so that was great. And then they get pumped 2-0, like, and all those Geordie fans are like, great, big up to them, like, they would have felt like us coming home from Germany like we did there. So another good day, Robbie.
Another good day. That was karma number 2. Karma number 3. You want to do it or me?
Oh, no, listen. I'm going to say. Go on, you go first. You go first.
I'm in the game. Arsenal versus Sevilla. Right, obviously watching the game and everything. There's a guy next to me and Julian. He's sort of like, how he did it, but he was getting.
How do some people get?
He get reception on his phone. I don't know how you get.
I want to know what these.
So yeah, I go and go, mate. What's the score in the United game? Goes, they're winning 2-0. I was like, oh fuck the hell. It's winning 2-0. I thought that'd be a tricky game for them, but give them their dues, man. Going away at Copenhagen, 2-0 up.
Masterclass, Mr. Chinard. Masterclass.
You've got to give them their respect for that, man. Then, right, a little bit later, he goes to me, Rashford's been sent off. I go, Rashford's been sent off? He goes, yeah, Rashford's sent off, man. Red card, straight red.
Straight.
I go, okay, that's interesting. That'll make it interesting. Still 2-0 up.
Yeah, still done enough.
You know what I mean? Just got 10 men behind the ball. You got 2 goals up. Just before, just at half time, I get him, what's the score now? He goes, hey, they pull one back just before half time. Copenhagen. I go, that's going to make it interesting.
Copenhagen.
Right, so then we're watching our game, second half and that, and then I think, hold on, I ain't got a little update from him. I go, what's the score? He goes, 2-2. I go, what? 2-2? I go, oh. But then about 5 minutes later, he goes to me, no, actually, I saw it as 2-2 because actually United are winning 3-2 now. I was going, them jammy. I was going, anyway, fair play to them, the thing, right? So that was it. I was watching that game, thought to myself, I ain't going to say no, United have done it.
Yeah, I thought they had done it.
Right? Our game finishes now. I go to him, I go, oh, by the way, what's the score in the United game? He goes, 3-3. I was going, 3-3. I go, they blew that. They were 2-0 up and they threw that away and think, right? He goes, yeah. I was going, these, man. I go, these United, man. I got this guy, Ten Hag. He can't buy a win. So I thought that was it.
Yeah.
Then when he was walking off, he goes, no, what's Robbie? They scored again. It's 4-3.
Unbelievable.
I go, what, United? He goes, no, Copenhagen. I was like, oh my God, man. I couldn't believe it.
It is incredible.
Karma number 3.
No.
Right? Because
so
many
Neville.
United fans. So Gary Neville who was slating off Arteta. So many United fans were on my case after that game. I was
Glazer's fault. Glazer's fault. Owner's fault. It's the owner's fault.
Oh, I'll tell you, that was.
I'll tell you, it was great.
It's been a good week.
I actually forgot about the Man United game because they were 2-0 up, and then it come into the. We was in the bar, and it said like Rashford had been sent off, and it was 2-1, and for someone, it was about. We was at half time. It must have been 5 minutes.
Yeah, because they had a load of extra time added on to the game.
Still going. And then it come through. It was 2-2. And then, like you, we found out it was 3-2, and that was it then. And as we was coming out, it said 3-3. And as you come out where I am, they've got the TVs and all that. Then there was this massive roar, and you know it weren't United scored. You know it weren't United scored. And then people going, "This is brilliant!" I loved it. And then when I got back home, I had to check out the highlights.
I watched the highlights.
I sat there, watched the highlights, cup of coffee, watching the highlights.
And what was the significant thing, and the significant thing in both games, right, the Tottenham game and the United game, is that there was loads of VAR decisions. There was loads. I saw Flex on United View losing it because he's like, that should never have been a red on Rashford and this and that. And I'm thinking, these are the same people.
Well,
right?
exactly.
The same people having a go at Arteta because Arteta got angry after the game, themselves getting angry after the game on VAR.
And Gary Neville.
Karma!
Mr. G Nev, he can't say nothing. Because if he does, he's going to make himself look silly and all that, you know what I mean? Jamie Carragher, you know what I mean? Love him, Jamie Carragher. He's come out and said, it's just never, shut up, Jamie.
It's a red.
He was turning around 2 days ago, not saying a word, but, man, all of a sudden, Karma, 3 days on the spin.
Honestly.
It has been a good week.
It has been a brilliant week. And, of course, we got the job done.
Yeah.
We got the job done as comfortable a win. The only thing you can say about
our involved.
Yeah, the only thing you can say about our win is that we should have scored more. We should have scored more goals. Havertz, that header right at the start of the game, free header, he should have scored. And probably should have scored a bit because I thought Martinelli, he was untouchable in that game. But the only problem with him is that sometimes his final ball, he overhit it, or because they had loads of players in the box, when he was cutting it back, they were able to. Yeah. But he absolutely roasted that defender, man. I felt sorry for that defender. I felt
sorry for Sanchez's name. I had to look him up.
I think I saw a stat that they said he's been run past in that game.
Record.
That was a record of a Martinelli was just like. And he was taking a mick after one. Wow. He even did a little spin one time, like what Anthony did on him. It was insane.
I don't know if you noticed it, but there was one time he went running, and our little friend Lamella was chasing him around. Did you see that?
Oh yeah. And he tried to even
kick him. He was trying to kick him.
And he couldn't even get near him.
In the end, he give up. You know what I mean? The whole crowd were loving it. You know what I mean?
Martinelli in that game.
Oh my! He was on fire. He was unplayable. Unplayable.
As I said, how he didn't get an assist for that game, right?
Well, he did. He got the second one.
Oh, yeah, he got the second one. Yeah. But how he didn't get more assists?
No,
because he was brilliant, absolutely. And then funny enough, the two wingers who didn't really show up, if we're being real, in the Newcastle game, they must have had a rocket right up there because they both were unbelievable. I mean, Saka, He took his goal brilliantly.
Saka was back to his best. Back to his
assist
best.
in the first half. You know what I mean?
What a goal that was, by the way.
And again, he got kicked to smithereens, and the referee didn't. I mean, imagine if that player would have got a booking, it would probably been worse. The referee let them off the hook by giving so many fouls on Saka, but Saka didn't care.
No, he was brilliant. That was Saka. That's what you like. That's what good players do. You know what I mean? Just when you. Not doubting him, that's the wrong word, but he's maybe he needs a rest. Questioning because he's not played well in the last, and he was awful against Newcastle, and then he bounces back with a game like that, and as you say, like, when he went through for the goal, I had no doubts that he was going to score. No doubts.
You know what? As soon as he chopped it back,
he
chops it back onto that left foot. Good night.
What a finish as well. Both brilliant. Goals were really, really good. And, so...
Jorginho's pass. Jorginho's pass. Who, by the way, this is a guy, right, as well, that I think should be singled out for some praise, right? Yeah. He has been very, very good since he's come in. He had that moment, obviously, against Tottenham where he gave the ball away and they went and scored, which was obviously a horrific moment, right? But since then, I think he's been excellent. We're missing Thomas Partey, a key player. He's not Thomas Partey. He doesn't offer the same, but what he does bring, he brings a lot of experience and organisation, and he's allowed Declan Rice to get further forward and play. And
that was a great thing. And the great thing about him, I don't know if you noticed it when he was walking off yesterday.
He's still giving orders.
He's giving orders, telling them what to do.
You know what? So, obviously there's been a lot of people saying, why has he been made captain? He was at Chelsea. Blah, blah. There's other players should be ahead of him. But I'm like, well, we don't know who's the better leader.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You don't just give it to anyone just because they've been there longer. You should be giving it to the person who's going to be a good leader. But you could see the guy, as soon as he's coming off the pitch, he's walking around.
Yeah.
He's not really bothered with taking applause from the crowd and stuff like that. He's going to people, get back, you dropping it, and we're winning 2-0.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that of him,
Yeah.
And listen, he's never going to be a fans' favourite because of, he's a little bit older and the Chelsea connection and all that, But listen, and if everybody's fit, he wouldn't be in the team. But he's come in
he's made us not miss Partey as badly as we should be. So what I was talking when I was talking about the Tottenham game, about how are they going to cope?
Yeah, he's done well.
They're going to now require somebody to step up like what he stepped up into that position, right? So last season when we didn't have Jorginho and Partey was out, the drop-off was like, it dropped like a stone.
Yeah.
There's still a drop-off because he's not the creative spark what Partey is.
Yeah, he's a different player.
But he's in a different way. He's been excellent, I think. Yeah. And that assist was a brilliant... He won't get the assist because he played the initial pass. But,
it's perfect. Saka just running onto it, doesn't have to check, just puts it across.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic
and the way he did the pass as well, he's like a no look.
Yeah, no.
It was brilliant. And Sevilla, we made them look so bad. I mean, they only had one shot in the whole game, and that was in the 96th minute. They only had two touches in Arsenal's box in the whole game. That's how one-sided that game was. I mean,
they come to us in the Emirates Cup. Do you remember we beat them 6-0?
Yeah. We should really have beaten them. I don't know. I just thought that maybe Arsenal didn't really get out of second game.
Yeah, it's interesting that the Arsenal team the year before probably would have beat them 6-0, right, or more 6-1. But look at the team now. I watched that Seville, as you say, Seville. There's been better teams than them come to the Emirates and create 3 or 4 chances and score against us. They never looked like scoring last night. Even when you go back to the Newcastle game, what did Raya really have to do?
Nothing.
Not a lot to do.
We're defending
you go back to when we beat them 2-0, they had 3 or 4 clear-cut chances that they missed. So there is a definite change in what we're doing, the approach that we're doing.
It's a bit more defensive,
a little bit more defensive, not as entertaining. I'm not going to lie. If you said to me, what would you prefer last season? I really enjoyed last season, even though it was a bit kamikaze at times. But maybe now, once Champions League's over and all that, we might revert back to that sort of thing. So I looked at it yesterday, and I felt, we could have won by more. But I felt that they started going, do you know what? We're now looking to Saturday.
Yeah. 100%.
Looking at that, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. So they're reserving energy. Job done. 48 hours to our next game. I'll tell you what, we'll take the 2-0. We'll ease it back, I just think it's totally professional performance.
Yeah, we're looking good in the group now because, you know, we topped the group, 9
One
points.
more win.
One more win. One more, I think a draw. I think I saw where they said a draw, wouldn't it? With
I don't know. I know a win makes us guarantees.
We've got Lens in the next game. What we 9 points, that would give us 10 if we drew with Lons. And they'd have 6.
Yeah, see, we would still qualify.
Yeah,
We'd qualify, but we wouldn't win it. The group, Seville would still, not Seville, PSV could beat us, and then So we need to beat. If we beat them, we win the group and qualify.
Yeah.
Lons, and that means in the PSV, you know what I mean, like is a.
Then you just rest players.
You just rest players. You
rest
know what
players,
I mean, like
yeah.
just.
If I let me keep talking now.
So I say I think it is. So I think that. All of a sudden, if we beat, listen, if you're saying at the beginning of the season, beginning of when that group comes out, one from last game, you've got to beat Lons to win the group and top it. You're biting your hand off for that, you know. So, and that's what.
And it would be great if we could do that, because the thing is, right, is if you look at the sequence of games when we go to PSV. So suppose we had to go to PSV and get something out of that game, right, away at PSV. The Saturday we've got Aston Villa away. That's tough. Very difficult.
What, before or afterwards?
Before, right? Before that. And then the week, the Saturday after that, we've got Brighton at home. So those are two tough games. So you really, if we could get the job done so that when we go to PSV, we could just basically keep everybody back for Brighton. So you could go full thing at Villa and you could go full thing at Brighton, and you could literally send the B team to PSV.
Give some experience.
It would have been great to have got it done. If PSV hadn't have beaten Lens last night, we would actually qualified last night.
But we want to qualify, but we also want to win the group.
Yeah, but if we beat Lens, we win the group. We win the group with a game to spare.
That's what we've got to do.
Yeah, and you know, it's basically those two great results against Sevilla back to back. You know what I mean? That's on paper. When you looked at this group, those were the hardest games.
Well, that was the team in pot 1, weren't they?
Yeah. So
that's right. So, you know, and they're looking in danger now, not getting into the Europa League.
Yeah. Somebody said to me they'll still get into the Europa League and then go on and win it.
Someone said to me that yesterday. They go into the Champions League to get the money, and then go into the Europa League to win it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
but they were very, very poor. And
they had a lot of injuries as well.
Chasing shadows. Yeah. They have had a couple of injuries, but like I said, we've coped with that injuries brilliantly. Now, all attention is going to turn to Saturday. Last game before the international break, taking on Burnley at home. Everybody's going to just look on it and say, well, easy 3 points. Burnley, really weird team. Been playing some really nice football.
Playing some good stuff,
but just can't defend, can they?
Nah. And listen, I don't care what anybody says, you know what I mean? I think Arsenal have got to go in there, and these are the games. I think Burnley are a different Burnley to in the past, where they defend a little bit more in the past. This is a team that come and attack us. Let's get the job done. Arsenal to win this game comfortably.
Yeah. They've only won one game this season, Burnley. Won 1, drawn 1, lost 9.
Yeah, so come on.
Lost 9 games.
You can't afford to make any mistakes in this game here. That, you know, you've got to win this game. And also, look, you know, the goal average has gone up from Man City, because I think they won quite comfortably. Like, was it 4 or 5 last week? So we need to you know, goal average is important as well, Robbie. Like, I don't care what anybody says, because you know, it's an extra point. You can't be giving Manchester City an extra point on top of what they're already having. So we need to go there. Got to win it by more than 3. I'm not saying that you know that you should, but that is what we should be expecting.
To me, the main thing is win it. I mean, look, if you look at the last few results for Burnley, it doesn't make great reading if you're a Burnley fan. I mean, they lost to Crystal Palace at home, 2-0. Palace, a team that don't really score many goals, they lost in that. They lost. They beat Luton, which is their only win of the season. That was 2-1. But then before that, got beaten 4-1 at home by Chelsea. Brentford beat them 3-0 when they went away to Brentford. They got beaten 2-1 by Bournemouth at Bournemouth, and we saw Bournemouth and they weren't the greatest team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Lost to Man United.
Did they?
Yep, they lost to Man United at home. It's a shock. I mean, went away to Newcastle, lost 2-0.
So they've been more
you know,
tough.
when they was at home, they lost 5-2 against Tottenham.
Yeah.
I mean, they've not
been pumped away from home so much, though, have they? Like, so they're a little bit.
Yeah, I guess so, but still, I mean, well, away from home. I mean, their last away. What was their last away game? Well, they won away at Luton, but before that, they lost 3-0 at Brentford. And even Bournemouth beating them. I mean, so it's there for Arsenal to win. It's going to be what type of team we put out. I mean,
what would you do now? Because Eddie could be fit for this game. Would you bring Eddie back in, or would you keep Trossard up top?
I think I'd keep Trossard. You know, he's just scored. You know, he's just scored the goal. Yeah, I think I'd keep Trossard. You know, I mean, he looked sharp in the game, in the Champions League game. He scored a goal. You know what I mean? It had a nice sort of balance to it with Martinelli and Saka, who they've definitely got to play. And I think I'll keep the same side that started the game. There could be an argument, maybe, do you bring Zinchenko in or do you start with Tomiyasu?
Yeah,
but I think I'd start with Tomiyasu because when I have watched Burnley, they look dangerous out on the flanks. They've got a couple of really good wingers that makes them dangerous out on the flanks. It's not. I don't think it's going to be a game where they're going to come with a low block. So maybe it's not. You know, Zinchenko, by the way, when he came on, he was excellent.
We looked better when Zinchenko came on.
He was excellent, and we did look better attacking wise.
Yeah,
but I'm just looking at him saying Burnley are not going to just come and sit. It's kind of been their problem this season is that they've tried to go toe to toe with every team, and they've just not had the finishers up front. But they will pose problems out wide.
I'm going for Zinchenko in this one, like, do you know what I mean?
I think I'd start with Tomiyasu.
Like, he's the only one that walked all the way around.
Yeah. So that's why you're going with him.
Yeah. Not only that,
I like Zinchenko.
I like Zinchenko. I like his action. All the ball boys, I don't know if you noticed, are all standing, waiting at that, and he shakes every one of their hands and all that. Like, I think he's just
very humble.
Very, very humble. Could be a little bit cheesed off that he's not been playing regular at this moment in time. Doesn't show it. Great attitude. Does what he does. And I thought when he come on, I thought we did look better.
He was brilliant when he came on.
I thought
that strike he had. He caught that clean.
Yeah.
But he's playing in midfield. James is always saying he should play in midfield. He looked brilliant in midfield. But
I think he went to go in midfield for a couple of minutes, didn't he? And then they had to change it because Saka got injured.
That's
but I
right.
think he was going to.
But when he had that strike, I'm sure he was playing in midfield.
I think it was about a 5-minute spell. He went in midfield.
There's just a slight thing about the wingers. Tomiyasu just gives you that little bit more solidity there, you know?
I've been very, very impressed with Tomiyasu.
Very impressed.
Very, very impressed, you know. And the reason why Zinchenko's probably not been playing, because he's just been banging on the door and playing so well that you've had to say, look.
And I just think he's defensively, when you're up against the better teams, I just think Tomiyasu just solid. And I'm only putting him in there because, as I said, they've got some good wide players on Burnley. That's where a lot of their threat comes from. Just to nullify that I'd have him in there. It wouldn't surprise me if he starts the game.
How good was Saliba though? Yes, I'll say.
Listen, this guy. Do we have to give Mikel Arteta a load of credit here as well? Because remember with Saliba, he came in.
Perfect.
He was sent out on loan.
Perfect.
Right, and we were moaning.
I weren't.
Hold on.
No, go back to I've never moaned about that one because I've always said
even when he was in the second year of a loan, like when we were sort of saying why ain't he been brought back?
Because I felt that that he was still a little bit raw, making mistakes somewhere else, and then coming. I think it's been perfect what they've done with him.
He done those 2 loans, gone out, played loads and loads and loads of football.
It got his experience.
Came back. The guy's a monster right now in defence, Mike. He's a Rolls Royce. He's a monster. Anything you want him to be, he is. He's absolutely brilliant at the moment. I think you can't afford to get him injured.
I remember, when we went to Orlando, that first trip to America, that was it for me. I went, wow. And it's not very often, like players that have done that over the years, and I can go back to certain players, Even Dennis Bergkamp didn't do that, the wow factor in the first couple of games, nor did Thierry Henry, if I'll be honest. But I'm talking players like Ian Wright, first of all, when he come into it, done that. Patrick Vieira, I think Declan Rice as well. You'd have to say now, from that. And when I see him, I went wow. I thought, wow, what a player he is.
I feel with Arsenal at the moment, we've finally got a spine.
Yeah.
Finally got a spine in this team. You've got him and Gabriel at the back. You know what I mean? You've got, you know, in midfield, Declan Rice and Odegaard. And up front, when he's fit, you've got Jesus. And that's a great spine. I mean, still doubts for me on the keeper, who, you know, but listen, it's not that Raya's bad. I still liked it when Ramsdale was in there, but we've got a spine now. And a player like, you know, I was looking in that game, and there was a little time when Saliba, the one little moment that they nearly had, when the sort of ball played in behind, that quick player from Sevilla, I'm not sure who it was onto it. Saliba just runs back, just nicks the ball off him. He's just quality.
Yeah, he's quality. And
back in the day, that would have been Mustafi.
Yeah.
Tracking that, he wouldn't have got to him, or it might have been David Luiz, who would have fouled him and maybe got sent off. But this guy, he just does everything with precision.
Yeah. And I have to say, like, you know, when you go onto the Ramsdale-Raya thing, like, you know, like Ramsdale played against West Ham, didn't he? He didn't have Saliba in front of him. You know what I mean? Like, it would make a little bit of a difference. But I will say with Ray, he didn't do nothing wrong.
No, he didn't do anything wrong.
Everything that he done was calm, cool, collective. There was a couple of times where the ball come back to him, good first touch, good pass. But the basics of what he had to do, he done well, like, you know. And it's not that no one dislikes Raya. I have to get this out there, like, you know what I mean? No one dislikes Raya, you know, or they just feel that it's a little bit harsh on Ramsdale. But that's the only thing, you know what I mean? It's Arteta's decision that he's made him. There's no this rotation thing, because if there is rotation, Ramsdale will play on Saturday. He won't. It's done now, and you have to accept that. And back Raya, I have to say, I did feel confident with him in goal yesterday, especially on his kicking and all that. Like, you know, he done that really, really well. So it is what it is now. That's how you have to accept it.
Yeah, it is what it is. But listen, it's just a big game coming up at the weekend against Burnley. A chance for Arsenal, actually. You know, with some of the teams around us facing, you know, Man City. You've got to go away to Chelsea. All right. You'd still make them the favourites to win that, but you never know. Chelsea have done better against the bigger side, so could Chelsea do Arsenal a favour if Arsenal were to beat Burnley? Tough little game for Tottenham now, going away to Wolves with the injuries they've got. Could Wolves, you know, spring a little surprise there? You know, so
can't believe
we've got to, you know, win our game and put ourselves into a decent position.
Are Chelsea playing Man City Sunday?
Yeah.
I can't believe that's 4 or 5 days I'll be supporting Chelsea, like, you know what I mean? I'll be singing Blue is the colour sooner or later. What's going on, like, you know what I mean? So, so like, you know, we'll be cheering on Chelsea again, like, you know what I mean? Come on, Poch. You know what I mean? But, so, listen, Tottenham have got a tough game now against Wolves, because I'll tell you what, Wolves have been, out of all the teams, I'm going to say this about VR, if someone needed to do a Mikel moment, it's Gary O'Neill. He has got every right to be pumping VA. They've had horrendous decisions.
Remember that United one at the start
at the beginning of a penalty last week, another one this week. Like, you know,
they've been on the
they deserve, you know, a little bit of luck, VAR, you know what I mean? And I think hopefully it'll happen on Saturday, like, you know, be nice to Wolves at the weekend, please.
Saturday,
be very nice to them, like, you know.
Obviously we're going to go into an international break, and then we come back after the international break just to run through the games going up until Christmas, because that'll be towards the end of November. So it'll be the 25th of November when we return back after the international break, hopefully off the back of beating Burnley. Then we've got to go away to Brentford. Not easy. We have gone away there already in the...
Tough place, that, though.
Yeah, went away in the EFL Cup.
Yeah, tough.
We won that. We beat them last year away as well, pretty comfortably. Remember that time?
Yes, yeah.
Right? A repeat of that would go down nice, but we've got to go away there. Then we play Lens at home. Another big game on the Wednesday, the 29th in the Champions League. If we win it, like you said, we top the group, and then that's the group put to bed. Saturday the 2nd, a home tie against Wolves. You'd fancy us in that. Then we've got to go away to Luton on Tuesday the 5th of December. Well, if I can get a ticket. Are you?
No.
You're not?
No.
Well, you definitely can't get a ticket for it.
I can't get a ticket for that one, no, not enough points.
I'm still trying.
So,
I'm still trying to get a ticket for that, man. I'd love to go to that game. So Luton on Tuesday the 5th of December. And then the weekend of the 9th of December, Villa away. Then PSV Eindhoven away. Then at home to Brighton, who we haven't done well against in the last couple of seasons. Then the last game before Christmas, we go away to Liverpool. So that's it's a mixed run. There's some winnable games in there, but it's not an easy, And then you can say Thursday the 28th, which sort of Boxing Day type programme.
Yeah, we ain't got a game Boxing Day, have we?
No, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
at home against West Ham.
On the 28th, is it 28th?
Yeah, and then we go away to Fulham on New Year's Eve. It's a decent run of games.
It's a decent run there. Like, obviously,
there's some tough games in there.
Tough games in there. Liverpool
away at Villa, away at Liverpool. Those are the tough ones.
They're tough, and obviously we won't be going with Julian next.
Well, he's talking about going up there.
He's talking about staying up there.
Staying up there.
I said on your own.
We're at Army Barracks.
Yeah. Let's have a guard outside his room.
He goes to me last night at the game. He goes, "Hey, they would have all forgotten by then." I go, yeah.
Not when we keep reminding them.
Is that right?
So we'll have to have an in and out job there. Tin hats on, I think. Like, you know what I mean?
That's not a very nice game just before Christmas, is it?
No. Hopefully they'll be feeling very merry and let him off. Like, you know what I mean? So,
unfortunately, Salah doesn't celebrate Christmas. So he'll still be coming for us. But no,
tough games. That's a tough run. Like Brighton, I don't care what anybody says. Brighton's not easy. But certainly Liverpool away is going to be a real tough one. Villa away is going to be tough. So that's three good. And I tell you what, Luton's not going to be easy. I see them against Liverpool.
They did very well against Liverpool.
They was very impressive. They're starting to find their Premier League boots a little bit, aren't they?
Yeah.
So that's not going to be easy. So listen, there's no easy games, but a couple of those games at home, we got to bank them home games and points in at home, and try to go to Liverpool, try to go to Aston Villa, and come away undefeated in those games.
Yep. So big games coming up after the international break. But listen, forget about that. This week, big game for Arsenal against Burnley. Don't forget you can check out all of our content, the previews. We're going to be speaking to a Burnley fan to get his take on the new Burnley. Right, so make sure you check that out on Box to Box. We're also going to be covering the game live. We'll be in the studio here doing a watch along, and we'll give you a chance after the game for you to call in via using our app AFTV Plus and using Fan Zone, which is very, very easy to use, to be able to come on live and speak to the guys about the game. We'll also be at the game speaking to fans after the game as well. So make sure you check out here on AFTV. Lee?
Been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a week of karma. And it's been beautiful, right? The gods are smiling, right? So big game at the weekend against Burnley. Let's hope we get the job done. And you guys enjoy this week. The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.